this is Tristian Gude of FUN News, Fake and Unreliable News Network. Today we will be bringing to you exclusive coverage of the Park family scandal as only the FUNER team can bring to you. That is the Fake and Unreliable Exclusive Network team. It all began in a sleepy town in the hills of South California where Mrs. Park, otherwise known as Uma, worked as a waitress in a local restaurant. She is the mother of two children. Their daughter, Youngju Park, is now 21, and their son, Junho Park, 15. Uma was married to Mr. Park, also known as Appa. After losing a number of jobs, Appa reluctantly took a job as a gardener. His lack of success made him turn to the bottle, and he became an alcoholic, to the extent that he was arrested for driving under influence. In their first decade as first-generation immigrants from South Korea, they battled many financial struggles and had their second child here in the United States. Appa's disciplinary methods had come to an all-time low as he was unable to control his temper due to his heavy drinking and socioeconomic state. As if things weren't bad enough, in the Park family, corporal punishment had turned to corporal abuse, and furthermore had now carried over to Uma, who would readily be the receiver of Appa's wrath, leaving her beat, bruised, and battered. One fateful evening, the Park family's fate would come to a fork in the road because of the events to follow. After a heated argument between Youngju and a heavily intoxicated Appa regarding his disapproval of the company she was keeping after many weeks of her being prohibited to associate herself with certain individuals, it had escalated to an enormous fight that turned severely physical to the extreme that Uma's motherly instinct could no longer bear to see her daughter physically abused to this degree. Uma interjected verbally and redirected Appa's anger towards herself, sparing and releasing her daughter from any more abuse, but unfortunately catching the brunt of his anger that had now been moved to the kitchen as the battle continued. Youngju realized this fight had reached a severity as never before. Youngju could hear pots and pans clanking, silverware and flatware flying, and bodies slamming into the cabinets as the altercation peaked. In fear of her mother's physical safety, despite the aftermath it may cause, she called 911 and told the dispatcher, and I quote, "Send help. My father is killing my mother." The statement released by the arresting officer made mention of the brutality of Mrs. Park's injuries that had left her bruised and deformed. He went on to express his disbelief as he walked Mr. Park in handcuffs to the police car that Mrs. Park refused to press charges against her abuser. Mr. Park was charged with aggravated domestic abuse since in California, as in most states, when substantial injuries are visible, the state can intervene and press charges against the attacker whether the victim wants to or not. And in an unrelated story, prehistoric fairies have been found in Ireland. Thank you for watching FUN News, and have a great night.